And so we're back again, as in year 612 AD, Constantine II proclaimed a grand chariot racing ceremony in honor of restoring the Roman Empire. And in the summer of that same year, Constantine led the forces against the Euthingi, a Germanic tribe, before starting yet another campaign in Germania, starting from the spring of 613 AD. And that campaign went smoothly, as after 2 years of it, he even went to campaign against the other Germanics like the Alemanni, and then he invaded the northern parts of Ireland, even defeating one of the tribal dukes of Ulaid as his tributary. But of course, Britannia, or the province of Albion, was always a problematic province, as the Picts from the kingdom of Alban or Pictland had to raid the province. They brought 10,000 men to raid the province under their king. But before the Picts could return back home, Constantine called his veterans and men in autumn of 616 AD, and the Romans marched to intercept the retreating Picts near of Lancaster. There started a battle that would cripple the Picts and gain more Rome triumphs in the British Isles. Despite the Romans only having 7,680 men, the Romans were far more professional than their Pictish foes. After the Battle of Lancaster, the Romans suffered 0 casualties, with some tens of men wounded, while all 9,800 Picts lie dead, with only 5 surviving, including the Pictish king Aethon. Since that battle, the Picts could recover, and at winter 617 AD, their capital of Kirkin was captured, and the Picts lost some of their land. This would mark as the first attempt of Rome gaining Caledonia or Pictish land since Agricola. And then later, Constantine led the troops against the Hibernians and defeating them too. Later, in his late years, more campaigns in Germania have been done, and a legend spread out about him and his dynasty overall as the restorers of the world. But in AD 623, the 68-year-old Constantine II Restitutor Orbis dies, leaving his heir to be his co-empress and daughter Ivanthia, who was married to her cousin. And she even has children. All of them are male, by the way. In her first 2 years, she conquered the Picts and the rest of the Hibernians, or the Irish, whatever you call them. And it marked the unification of the British Isles as the one province of Albion. But before she could unify the British Isles, came news in year 624. In the eastern deserts of Arabia, a new ambitious empire came with a new faith. That realm was the Rashidun Caliphate under their caliph, Prophet Muhammad of the Hashemid dynasty, who conquered most of the Christian kingdom of Hejaz and other Coptic kingdoms in Arabia. This was a serious threat to Christendom, as Christianity fought to gain the Arabian deserts, despite the diversion of the church in 450 AD into multiple sections. Still, this made the empress to quickly enter Britannic and Germanic allied campaigns and began to focusing on the development of the news in the eastern frontier in the east of Levant. And after some time, on 16th of July, the sword of Islam was pointed to the northwestern side of the Arabian Peninsula to conquer it. Ivanthia had a choice, either accepting Islam and rejecting Christianity, or resisting against such aggression. And she chose to resist, meaning one thing: war. And thus, the Romans and their allies were now fighting against the Muslims over the lands of Arabia. The Romans were almost having 100,000 men, but the fanatical tribal Muslim Arabs had almost 150,000 men. Despite the numerical advantages of the Muslims and some of their cunning tactics, the disciplined and organized, heavily developed, and strategic Romans were superior in quality than in quantity, which seemed skeptical for a victory for the Romans. But even so, the Empress hired some of the mercenaries that were gained into the imperial army. Still, it seemed not enough. However, the commander of this host was Sebastianos or Sebastian of the Hyochrysophorites family. Jesus Christ, what a fucking name. Almost broke my brain with it. Anyway, instead of engaging the Muslims head on, Sebastian was waiting for the Muslims to attack when they were busy sieging the nearby cities like of Tabuk. There, in Tabuk, in 24th of December of 635 AD, began one of the most largest battles of early Middle Ages, the Battle of Tabuk. Even despite his old age, Sebastian even managed to kill one of the noblemen of the Muslims, causing some morale damage to them, and in the process, as the other governors from other provinces came in to help with their forces, the Muslims, being short on men, routed, and the chaos erupted in the formations of the Muslims. Tired and weakened, the Muslims fell back. Such action caused the Prophet Muhammad to stay in the eastern parts of his realm in order to let the remains of his forces to recover, whilst leaving holy sites like of Mecca and Medina unguarded. Sebastian moved his contingent of forces to Medina to put the war into a shameful defeat for the Muslims. But despite the orders from their prophet, some Muslim commanders went confidently to regroup their forces to be, instead of 30k, now 70k men near Dhul Marwa. Despite the numbers and the mountainous terrain, the Romans were still there because Sebastian didn't want the Muslims to fully regroup with the prophets, to move troops with them, making it worse for the Romans to defend against such hundreds of thousands of these Muslims. Then, at As Sukya, the old Sebastian, fought the Muslims in the 2nd of October of 636 AD, thanks to the help from the governors of the imperial provinces, the Romans won again, causing lots of losses to the Muslims. But instead of chasing them down to take down Muhammad, Sebastian ordered to siege Medina and nearby regions, like cities of Mecca and etc. While Medina was sieged, a new eastern plague came in, but it was way weaker than Black Death. It didn't reach even Constantinople, so it's alright. And so, on 31st of March 637 AD, Medina fell to the Romans. Yet, the Prophet was stubborn and refused to give up, and the Romans had no other choice but to face the Muslims and their Prophet in the open. After the battles near of al-Huzaymiyah, the Muslims gave up, and after Prophet Muhammad was defeated in battle, the Muslims were forced to pay the Romans war reparations for the war they caused. Because of this victory, the campaigns in Germania ended as the Empress eventually was triumphant once more in her rule. Yet, despite going older, senile, ambitious, and tyrannical, and because she was a woman, many were not agreeing with it, so she decided to give up her power to her son and heir, Constantine, now the third. But that is another tale to tell, another time to remember. Now, goodbye, y'all. See you next time. And this series is coming to an end because I'm tired of making this repetitive, because, well, there are some other YouTube videos out there that done it already, and it just feels the same, like conquering, dividing, Christianizing, nothing new. I mean, I'm not disrespecting the Fallen Eagle is amazing, but I'm just tired of it, and yeah, so maybe I'll start making Bannerlord videos or etc. So yeah, goodbye, see you next time, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, like the video, share it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.